Hey folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Tuesday, May 12th, 2009. Well, we're seeing a solid pullback on Wall Street again today, although it's not a big one as of now. But the more important thing about the markets today was that we saw a gap up, and then for once, we're seeing the market actually go to the negative side and hold. Now, granted, it's only halfway through the day in the markets here, just a little bit before 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But again, the gap up was key. You had a nice sell-off day yesterday. You ended near the lows. You got a gap up this morning. And then basically from that gap up, you can see this trend line right up here. If you connect the high going back a couple days, then yesterday's high right here, or this pivot point, and then the high print on the push-up initially on the gap up here, you can see the tail. You can see we closed below that. That was a good signal that the market was not going to be able to find support in the near term, and the market started to sell. They sold hard initially, small bounce, hard, and then kind of traded sideways to up. Beautiful in spirit of bear flag right here. Notice the big move down, sideways to up move in the markets. That yields a bearish in spirit of flag pattern, which can tell you more downside is coming. The market came down, double bottomed right here. Notice the green candle. And then again, you started to sell one more time, breaking the lows, coming down to your secondary support right here at around $90 on the SPY. That is currently where we hold. The interesting thing about this is right now you do have an in spirit of bearish flag pattern or bear flag pattern again here in the markets, and you want to see whether or not that breaks, and you're going to need to see a break of this blue trend line. This blue trend line is a key support going back about a week in this market currently, and even farther possibly, but I found the levels going back at least a week in this market. That's a very, very important level on the spiders. Needs to be watched with extreme carefulness here, care, really understanding that if this breaks down, you could actually sell to around 89.50 or so, and I'll tell you about that when we look at the 60-minute chart. I'll give you a more exact target on that should we sell. You can see you're down ticking right now, and we'll have to continue to follow this. Now, folks, those of you that are in the research center, you know we've been talking about a couple pullbacks, a little bit of a pullback on the horizon. So those of you that have that premium service obviously are ahead of the game. Those of you that don't have it, I strongly suggest you do it for the educational and guidance, all right? You'd be ahead of these moves, you'd understand what the technicals are showing, and be able to be ahead of all of this in the ways of getting and making profits, all right? In any case, a beautiful second down day here. Again, the Dow down only about 40 points, the S&P down about 10.5, and the NASDAQ really taking the brunt of the storm today, down 31. That's a big drop on the NASDAQ percentage-wise, and you can see it in Apple. Apple Computer down over $5 today, folks. $5 plus drop on Apple. That's a huge drop, as you can kind of get the sense that this is options expiration week, and there were just too many calls out there with people looking for, Apple at 120 to 130 to 140 calls, and they're not going to be that nice to you and let them pay off, all right? Remember, the institutional money is the one that's mostly selling those options to people, puts and calls, and they're not going to be that nice by letting you take advantage of them and making money. Trust me, they're controlling that game. If you don't think the options market is like that, then you're fooling yourself. So understand that, folks. Now, Goldman Sachs was another key one, guys. There was a huge line here in the sand of a breakdown we called, folks, going all the way back down to here. All right, see this lower level right down here, and again, I'm going to draw this in on the charts for you because it's so fascinating. And this is something we called in the chat room this morning as well. Beautiful play on a breakdown on Goldman, and again, it really starts all the way back down to here. Let me go back a little bit, and you can see going all the way back down here, and you can see Goldman continuing these lows, major trend line in the process of being made here. Just to connect that and drag it further up, and all of a sudden, what do you behold? Look at that. All right, look at that on Goldman here. Major hits multiple times. It hammered on it earlier, couldn't break this trend line right here. Up, sideways consolidation. Finally breaks, retests, and then gets slammed down, folks. And Goldman was higher by as much as $2 this morning plus, and ultimately has rolled over to be down about $2.30 right now, right at the lows of the day. All right, so that's another thing you got to be aware of and understand, but a beautiful, beautiful little bit of a sell today from a gap up, and that's the most important thing. That's a change in character from what we saw over the last week or two, and again, whether or not, how much is this pullback going to be before we go back to new highs, that's really the big question. That's what our premium subscribers are, they have the luxury of seeing our nightly videos, 30-plus minutes long of hardcore technicals on the market, gold, oil, and the dollar. You have the daily market report coming out every day, giving people updates on key levels to watch on everything on the S&P 500. You get the Pro Trader watch list, the technical tactic Hidden Gems, which, by the way, the Hidden Gems gave over 100% gains on 2 stocks in less than a week. In any case, going back to the technicals, guys, let's focus on this market. I don't want to get into that too much. I just do hope everyone understands the benefits of it. In any case, this is the spiders. I just talked about a possible bear flag here. Now, there is good support, but notice this breaking down. We talked about the bear flag. Notice what's happening. Now, you have support right down here, just around 89.90. So, believe it or not, there's just a little bit below here. There's some more support that if you do come down another 10 cents on the spiders here, we're right around 89 right now. You're right around 90 right now. You should hit a little bit of, and you're coming right into that. Okay? Very, very good angle today. Beautiful, just continued selling. People unloading. Volume is not tremendous. It's good, but not amazing. You've done about 1.45 million on the spiders, on the futures today, with about 127 million on the spiders as of now at right around 1 o'clock p.m. Now, stocks are selling. What are they? Well, banks are weak again today. We saw Goldman roll over. J.P. Morgan continuing to get slaughtered. Yesterday, J.P. Morgan down big. Today, went down, bounced, now new lows or a double bottom. Actually, a nice little double bottom here on J.P. Morgan. Could yield a little bit of a bounce. We'll have to watch that closely in afternoon trading. Bank of America down another 80 cents. This was a $15 stock not long ago, folks. Now it's $12. Unbelievable fall here. Look at this fall all the way down over the last 2 days. Really getting slaughtered. Citigroup down 16 cents. Morgan Stanley down $1. Obviously, the FAZ, which is 3 times short the financials, is having a great day. Up another, 12%, 14% today, closing in on $6. A very, very solid move there. You could talk about QID having a good move, up $1.70. SRS up $1.95. These are all short the market in various aspects, whether it's the S&P, whether it's the NASDAQ, or the Qs, or the real estate. SDS here is the S&P 500, 2 times short. But nonetheless, these are paying off nicely for those that had accumulated over the last few days finally, and making very, very solid moves back up here. The SDS moving in on $60. Now, as I mentioned, going back to the spiders, folks, you are coming into support. Look at that. I mean, did I call that, folks? Just in the beginning of the video, I said bear flag. Where's it going? I had this line already drawn in before this move happened. Now you're hitting support right here. And this is just a small example of what we do on our nightly videos, folks. So if you're interested in this stuff and you can see the benefit to you, obviously, that's what you want to do. And you can play these. Believe it or not, I just go over the intraday charts on these videos, but they can be applied to the daily. I mean, here's your daily. Same thing applies. It's just a chart. It's no different from the intraday. The daily chart applies just as much. So you got to understand that. And understand that the same trend lines can be had on this chart where you're going to get major bounces, all right? You have your trend lines in here. You know, I can put them in. Again, I saved that for the nightly group, folks. By the way, we really focus more not only on the intraday, but also on the daily, the weekly charts. I go over on all these stuff for key levels for those that are more into their 401ks, their IRAs, their investment accounts, not their day trading. If you can't do day trading, only a small amount of us can day trade, so that's why it's very, very good. In any case, folks, you can see a nice little turn down here. We never quite got to the 200 moving average. That could tell us that at some point we may make a move up in that, but at that point it might only be double top because the 200 is going to slope down into that level, so we'll have to see where we go, but that 200 will obviously be good resistance as the spiders now have broken down just into that level, folks, that 89.85 to 89.90 I mentioned a little bit ago, and we talked about piercing that right now. Okay, so continue to watch this, guys. Beautiful stuff here going on in the markets on the sell side. Futures down 14. NASDAQ now down 35. The big thing is oil. I want to point out oil today, folks, in the last little bit of the trade today. Oil gapped up today. Oil has been a monster of late, and oil actually sold all the way off to go negative, bounced back to the flat line, now selling again. But this is a big reversal on the oil trade. A lot of people may be taking a little bit of profits after a huge move. The Dow now down 51, the S&P down about 13. But in any case, folks, just an unbelievable day. I can't wait to do the nightly video tonight because there's going to be a lot of updates to talk about to all our premium subscribers and updates. And we're going to have to start looking at the Pro Trader watch list, which had some bearish plays on it. And now we may start to look to say take a few off there as they've really come down 10, 20, 30% on some of those on that watch list. All right, folks, that's all for today. We do encourage you to come join the chat room or the Research Center, which, again, has 5 different services for just $49.99 a month. Very, very inexpensive. Best deal out there in the Research Division and the Guidance Division and the Education Division, all inclusive, folks. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.